Hello everyone, how are you all? Welcome Carol, welcome Nikki, thank you for joining. So tonight's Thursday tutorial time, we are going to be doing not an angel this week, but this was what we did last week and we bounced some ideas off, and this week we're going to use a similar technique to actually make a poppy or flowers, which I will show you in another colour in a moment. Hello Sharon, hello Tracy. So just talking you through materials. I'm not going to talk too much beforehand because I think it's going to take up most of the hour to actually take you through. I'm going to do it right from scratch and I'm hoping I'm going to be able to complete the whole thing. So we're using 0.4mm wire. And I would say cut about 1.5 meters length, and we start in the middle. Now you're going to need a choice of 2 size 10 seed beads, but you can use alternatives, not a problem. I think you could use any size really. One I think would be a good leafy colour to use, and a brooch back if you're popping it on a brooch, or I actually think this would make really lovely pendant. Or I'm not into the chokers myself, but I think it would make quite a nice necklace or centre point on a scarf as well. Hello Sue, hello Francis, thank you for joining. Right, so let me just organise my phone on the overhead. Now I'm hoping, because the nights are really drawing in, so I've got some extra light in here, so I'm hoping that it's going to really sort of pave the way a little bit to light things up a little bit. I don't know why I didn't have this ready beforehand. Hello Linda, hello Jackie. Right, let's go on the overhead. There we go. Let's just zoom in a little bit on that as well. There we go. So this was last week's, and this is the same technique we're using with these sort of swirls with the 0.4mm wire. So this is the poppy. It's getting a little bit closer. So I've used silver lined red seed beads and silver lined green, but I have actually put quite a few different greeny colours in the thread. Hello Trisha, and I really love this colour. This is inside lined lilac. That's the check 6mm Verchiel fire polish crystal. Now that's the AB, green AB, I think it's the light AB, I'm not sure, that I've used on that. Okay, so let's get going. Hello Jane, hello Carol. I'm going to do a red one. Now I'm hoping the red is going to show up okay on here. Why is there always a random coloured bead in a pack? Do you get that? Hopefully not if you're buying from me, but I must admit they do seem to appear, don't they? Right, let's just alter the lighting. I think, there we go. That's a little bit better. So we are going to start in the middle. Now the first petal we're going to do is with 42 seed beads. So use the tip of your wire to add them on, and so I'm going to have to learn to chat and count at the same time. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Obviously you can change this, excuse me, 23. I think what I'm going to have to do is just thread them on chat and then count them. Never thought it would be so difficult. But what I'm saying is, a bit like the angels, you can actually make them smaller if you wish. Now, the only problem with this side light is we've actually got, let's take that off for now. We've actually got a little bit, bear with me a moment, that was helping, wasn't it? But it's created a little bit of a shadow. Sorry to have my hands across. I'm getting attacked by wire and lights at the moment. There we go. Oh, don't want that to drop off. So we're going to shimmy that down to the middle of the wire. Oh, Trisha. I love that, Trisha. Why did I not think of that? As Trisha said, why do you need to count it? Well, you didn't say why do you need to count it, but Trisha said, why don't you measure it? Trisha, that is wonderful. I absolutely love that. That's what you call thinking outside the box. 15, 20, 25, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Trisha, thank you. I think that's brilliant. So so 42 beads is 2.5 inches. So I'm going to write that down. Let me know if you can see okay and hear me okay. So there we go. Now, what we're going to do is roughly in the middle. It doesn't have to be absolutely spot on. Okay, so make sure you've got it nice and taut, and then what you're going to do is, like we did last time, is just cross those wires over. It gets more difficult as you go, only because you've got lots getting in your way, and just crisscross or twist twice. Yeah, absolutely. You were pretty close on that, weren't you? Now, what I'm going to do, if you look at this, is I'm going to make 3 on top of the other. So I'm going to make a second petal on top of that one with 32 beads. So come on, let's get guessing. How long do you think 32 beads will be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At least once I've got the inches, then I don't have to keep counting, do I? See and hear me, brilliant. Hello Meg, thank you for joining. But as before, I would really, really love it if we could bounce some more ideas about, you know, do you see another pattern in this? Do you see it perhaps being on some applique? Would look quite nice on a denim jacket, wouldn't it? Right, let's move across a little bit so you can see. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So 2.25 inches. Drum roll. Oh, it's actually 1. I'm not quite sure how to actually count the inches. Does that make sense? So there's your 1.5. So 1, 5, 1, 2, 3, One. I don't know how to count them. I'll have to do it in centimetres for this one. I'm going to confuse everybody. 4.5 centimetres, or in inches, I would say it's about 1 3/4. 45, excuse me, 45 millimetres, 1 3/4 inches. Okay, so I'm going to do the same on that. I'm going to just overlap it, just shimmy it down a bit so that you've got a little bit of wire, free wire either side to twist. Now that's a bit tight, like so, and then twist, and I'm going to lay that on top of that one. Now the next one we're going to go for 22. So let's see, guesses please, how many for 22? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11, don't worry, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I won't have to count after this one. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Difficulty is because we've got a mirror image, so that is about 1 1/4 inches, or 33 millimetres. Right, so for the rinky dink one, again I'm going to make it into a loop like so, and then I'm just going to twist. Now it really is quite easy to lose one of your beads underneath that when you twist it. Okay, so we've got 3. I'm going to do that 7 times, so we can have a little chat now whilst I'm threading on these beads. Nikki says it would look good on a crochet hat. It certainly would. Jane says a poinsettia Christmas brooch maybe. Absolutely. Whoops. My comments have suddenly shot up and disappeared. Hello Wendy, don't worry about missing the beginning, no worries. Right. Kim, I think Kim will probably join later, but Kim, if you do watch, just to say, I loved the angels that Kim did from last week's tutorial. Has anybody else had a go? Would love to know how you found it. But you know, off the back of last week's tutorial, we've also got a dragonfly next week that we're going to do, which again is completely different, but it's just sort of having those light bulb moments. But like everyone else, oh, I didn't like to ask you what a crochet hat was. A crochet hat. Crochet sounded very nice. I thought it was some exquisite sort of hat that I should know about. Yeah, like I'm saying, we all have those light bulb moments, and equally we all have those moments where it's just like, nah, not seeing anything, not feeling it at the moment. And I do think that you can do one or two things. You can either down tools and wait till it passes, or you can get your beads out and see if it gives you any inspiration. I find that going on Pinterest really helps. Linda was just making a very, very good point about using a bead spinner. I love the idea of using a bead spinner. Now, if you've never heard of a bead spinner before, basically they're wooden or they're plastic, and you pop them all in to this little spinner and you try and get these seed beads on there. Now, I have to confess, sorry, I should have said, I've just laid that one by the side. It really doesn't matter which of the wires that you use, you can alternate between them. But just going back to Linda's point, I think it's absolutely brilliant. I found though, whenever I have done a demonstration on those like bead spinners, is I end up with like 2 on there after half an hour. They go swimmingly well when I'm on my own. And then when I'm demonstrating, it just really doesn't flow. But they are brilliant. Just don't watch my demos on them. So that's 1 3/4. Oh, this is so much easier. So much easier to have a measurement. We said 45. Oh, that's so much quicker. Right, so I'm making the second size petal. So I just leave a couple of mils at the bottom there. Hopefully you could see that. Now, if you find that the wire breaks, don't worry. You can carry on with the other side and you can always add in wire. So I'm going to do the smaller petal now, which is 33 millimeters or about 1 1/4 inches. I suppose these would be quite nice in a frame as well, wouldn't they? Hello, Rosie. Rosie's joining us as well. That's really good. You managed to find us all right then, Rosie, because you weren't sure if you'd be able to find us. Sue said she would use a bead spinner too. Do you know what? I never even gave it a thought, which is why. I love it when we're all having a discussion because we all think of different things. Right, so that's the small one. Again, just overlap the wire at the bottom and twist. So it's moving along quite nicely there. So we've got 6 little petals, but we're on number 2 of 7. Oh, Wendy, we were talking about that and I was counting them, but Trisha came up with an amazing idea about once you've counted them, measure them. So that's what I did. So the first petal was 42 beads, which was around 2.5 inches. Now you don't have to what was I going to say? You don't have to do the same size as me if you don't want to, but you know, based on the size that I've got here. Petal number 2 is 32, which was 1 3/4 inches, excuse me, or 45 millimeters, which has made my life so much easier for the demonstration because it means I can just chat away to you. And you've got a bead spinner as well. Fantastic. Do you know what? I didn't even give the bead spinner a thought. I think that's brilliant. 45. Oh, that was a good judge. Maybe 1 too many. pink in there, so I'm just going to cut that off. Where did I put my cutters? If anybody's got oh, I want 2.5 inches. I've made it the size of the second petal because I'm talking about the second petal. The third petal size, I'm sorry if I've repeated myself, that's approximately 1.25, which is around 33 millimeters. But like you say, what you could even do is you don't even necessarily have to cut your wire. You could just leave, if you've got one of the bigger spools or smaller spools, is just leave your wire attached and just pop it on the bead spinner. There we go. So we're on to petal, the big petal, lay it over on the base. And then, so I'm still at the moment using the same wire. It's just comfortable for me to do that. Now, just a reminder, I am on Create and Craft Extra tomorrow. I believe I've got Yanis tomorrow, and it's on the extra channel, so you can watch it on the main TV if you press the red button. You can watch it on YouTube. You can rewind it on YouTube. You've got 24 hours to watch it back. It's not on the rewind system like the others, unfortunately, not yet anyway. Whether or not they will do that, I'm not sure, but I am really super excited because Matthew Palmer, watercolourist, is on after me in Create and Craft Extra, so I do hope that he's in the same studio. Oh, we've got lots of loves for the bead spinners here, so there you go. Nice reason for you to get your bead spinners out. Meg's got a battery operated one and it's brilliant. Ooh, I like the sound of that. So we've just got the small one to do now, and then we'll keep going. How are we doing for time? Oh, we're okay for time. Apologies if it's a little bit boring to just sit and watch me do this. It's quite relaxing actually. I think I might give this one to my mum. I like having a different collection of poppies. Which I think Poppy Sunday will be next Sunday, I believe. Because it's the 11th hour, the 11th month, the 11th hour, the 11th minute, or something like that. Have I got that right? No, the 11th month, the 11th day, and the 11th hour, that's it. So, I think they do it the Sunday that's closest. So that's a week on Sunday. Right, so that's the smaller one. If I suddenly disappear, it's because I'm just measuring the length that I've done. But doesn't that sit really nicely? So that's what we've got so far. Pretty sturdy. And then we start again with another big base petal. So I'm going to be up super early in the morning. I have to be at the studio for 11, even though my show's at 1. Everything gets posted up in advance, but I do bring extra things with me, and I've got obviously my demonstration pieces there as well. But it's really difficult, so difficult to judge time for going, because it could take up to 3 hours. It's normally like 2 hours 20, but obviously you just never know on a Friday, do you, what the traffic's going to be like. So I think I'm probably going to leave around 7. I'm almost packed. And just in case I am late, I'm going to go with my hair and everything all done. So if I suddenly have to run into the building, it's one less stress, isn't it? So Linda says she might just chill out and make one of these tonight. It'll be relaxing after the day I've had. Oh, have you had a tough day today, Linda? Right, so it does start to get a little bit more tricky as you're adding more petals, because obviously you run out of space. I mean, you don't even have to do 7 if you don't want to. You could do just 5, but I think we're okay for time, so I'll keep going for now. But at least then you've got a real time of making it. You know, if you're doing it yourself, you could potentially make it along with me on the replay. I have put the angels tutorial on YouTube, so that's on there now. I'm always really reluctant when I put them on YouTube, not because I don't want to, but because some people don't actually read the fact that it was a Facebook Live and they moan about all the chat. So I put a note up there to say that obviously you can skip the initial chat, but you know, it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but that's what I love about our Thursday tutorial time, is it's not just doing the demonstration, it's about having a chat and sharing ideas. So on petal 2, Betty's just found us. Hello Betty, did you find it difficult to find us? Hello Sandra, don't worry. That didn't catch too well. Let's do that again. Meg was married on 11/11, but at 1, not 11, so hubby has no excuse to forget. No, he really doesn't. Oh, sorry to hear your little granddaughter's poorly. Bless her. That's really difficult, isn't it, when the little ones aren't so good? Yes, absolutely. Having a chat is good. It almost feels like you're all in a room with me. Right, so we're on 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I quite like the fuller effect of the 7, but I think you could get away with 5 petals if you wanted to. And when I say 5 petals, I mean like five layers of 3. 33. Not quite. I haven't actually weighed it to see how many grams you use on this. Now, if you don't have it too tight, what you start seeing is you start seeing more of the metal, but you can always go back and tighten up. Now, I think I'm in a bit of a pickle. Let's have a look. So you've got, oh yeah, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm almost running out of wire here, so I'm going to actually bank that wire for now, and I'm actually going to start using the longer wire. I think I'm going to need some more beads in a moment. So that's your 4. So we're just over halfway through, so I need to start picking up a bit of speed, don't I? But do feel free, if you've got any questions, do just obviously pop them in the thread. Oh, Betty said that she's been looking but couldn't find us, then suddenly it popped up, and she was looking in the wrong place and she's not been herself lately. Sorry to hear that, Betty. I know it's been a tough time for you. Now there's two different types, two different colours of red seed beads. You've got the dark red, and these are the just standard coloured red. I think I prefer this colour red, but I suppose it really depends on what sort of project you're doing. Oopsie. Now the centre crystals, to be honest, you can kind of play around with them a little bit. On the pink one or the lilac one, I've got a 6mm. On the black one, I've done 3 check fire polished. Right, so how would I tighten them? Now, if they're a bit laps, you could do one or two things. You could either twist them a little bit more, but you need to be careful, because if you over twist them, your wire will snap. Or you can undo them and just reposition it again so that there's not too much slack on there. Now, don't worry if they become a little bit sort of mushed up, because what we can do is we can actually sort those out afterwards. We can reposition them all afterwards. Now, the only reason why I didn't go for 6 is because with flowers you should have even numbers, but I don't really suppose it matters because you've got multiple amount of petals. Yes, absolutely, you could use a button in the middle. That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? I'm just thinking out loud as well that you could in my mind, I'm thinking back to the right angle weave, the V right angle weave tutorial that we did a few months ago. And I'm thinking that if you do one of those necklaces and maybe 3 to 5 flowers, maybe different sizes, you could actually wire them onto the right angle weave necklace to make a real wonderful statement piece. In fact, I might have to try that. Now, I think I've got my front and my backs mixed up, but again, it doesn't really matter too much because the joy with it being wire is you can flip it over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it just feels like an eternity because I'm always conscious when I'm doing a tutorial that it's like the same old and it's quite boring. So I apologise in advance if it is a wee bit boring. But let's have a think about, so if we did some If we did a statement necklace with maybe 3 to 5 of these, bearing in mind you could use any colour flower, and it's relatively inexpensive as well, because you it's only using seed beads, isn't it? I'm just thinking, what other things could you could even stitch it onto ribbon, I guess. It's just getting a little bit fiddlier. That's okay. Just tightening that up a little bit. Right, let's just take stock of what we've got. That's where you suddenly discover that you've got one of them over here. Bear with. There we go. All okay so far. A winter woolly hat, yes it would. Oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? And especially as you've got the wires, you could actually wire them onto a tree. You could always have a miniature tree. Oh, if it was like a white tree, wouldn't that stand out so beautifully? Sue is saying that poinsettias can be made the same way and use them on your tree. Love that. Just thought of something else. How about doing a plain bead around a bauble and actually having one of these maybe laid over the top, so you could actually have the top of the bauble through there, so it's like a little skirt, a flower skirt on top. We are going to be doing a Christmas pudding beaded bauble. We did do it one last year. So you may have seen it already, but hopefully it'll just be a nice little refresher. Still doing okay for time. 2.5. So we're on petal 2, number 6 out of 7. So Betty said she tried making poinsettias a few years ago, never again. Betty, do share. What was it about the poinsettias that put you off? Was it wiring or was it needlework? I know the thing is with needlework is there's a huge amount of work involved. I think, I mean, I adore beadwork, but what I love about this is it doesn't, once you've done a couple, you're going to get these done as quickly as I am. And, you don't mind sort of, if you're spending an hour on doing one, it's not too bad, is it? It's quite productive. It's quite a productive way of doing things. And again, do not worry about it being exact with the measurements. But it is easy. It is easy when you get towards the last bit to actually think, where am I? Where am I on my flower? Oh, I'm flicking beads everywhere now. You could always, as well, if you've got loads of cheap seed beads, you know, like Chinese seed beads that you can't use in bead weaving because they're not even enough, you could use these, use them in this project as well. It's just something that's worth thinking about, is, you know, empty that stash that you've got. Right, so Betty said it was a big mess that I couldn't get my head around. I threw it in the bin, swearing as it went. I bet it felt good throwing it in the bin then, didn't it, Betty? There are just occasionally some projects that get you like that, aren't there? Right, we are, drum roll, on the last group of petals. I think I'm going to need some more seed beads. Right, and then we've got 3 leaves to make, and the centre. How are we doing? We've got 15 minutes. Worst case scenario, I've actually not attached the brooch back on the lilac one that I've done, because I thought if we run out of time, I'll at least have time to show you the centre and at least 1 leaf, and then I can show you the way that I attach the brooch back. But I would imagine we've all got different ideas about how to do that, so by all means do share that, you know, afterwards. Just trying to pick up pace a little bit. But do you think, you know, does this look workable for most of you? Does this look, you know, you think, oh yeah, I could do that, or yeah, I'd like to try that? Do you know what else this would be really nice for? This is really like putting it out there now. Not that I like festivals myself. I can't think of anything worse than rough camping, you know. But I know certainly my daughter, one of my daughters, is really up for like doing the festivals like Glastonbury, and these would make such gorgeous headbands, you know, like flower bands. Actually wasn't Glastonbury she went to Reading and Truckfest, I think it was. Personally, I can't think of anything worse, but you know, when you're young, you don't mind a bit of rough camping. As you get older, you want a bit of you want a bit of comfort. Nearly completed that part. Sharon said she'd stick to 5 petals, but a good telly project. Yeah, absolutely, you've got that option to do that. As you can see, it does get a little bit fiddlier, if that's the right word to use, fiddlier. Right, top one, and then I've just got to rejig them all and attach one side to the other. It does look a bit of a mush at the moment, but that's okay. As long as it doesn't stay looking a mush, we'll be all right. Well, that's definitely my best tip from the week, that is, Trisha. I just love it. Right, okay, it looks squished, so it really does look squished. Right, so that's that one there, that one there. The other thing you could do is you could always just do more of the base ones and not as many of the top ones, if that makes sense. Do I have, oh, those need to go over there. Ah, there we go. Right, so to complete the circle, I am going to bring, let's do this in slow-mo, so that's where the join is. I am going to bring those together and I'm going to wrap one of the wires round the adjoining petal. And I'm going to do the same with the other one as well. Now, I have no idea how I managed not to have a big gap before, but I do have a nice big gap now, which is fine. It's fine. And I'm kind of tempted to go with one of my black rondelles. But still, let's see where we go. I think what I'm going to do is just actually weave under and over just to bring those in a little bit and back. There we go. Now, I am going to add some of these on. Oopsie. Well, I was hoping to. I am playing like tiddlywinks here. Right, so I'm going to go back round there. I think I'm going to add 5 on this one because it's rather a large hole. How are we doing? 10-2. Brilliant. That's not bad, is it? And I'm going to go push my wire back through the first one. And this is where your wire goes all crinkly or snaps, so you just have to be super careful. Now, because that's sticking up, we could do one or two things. I think we will add, this is very much improvised, another one over the middle like so, and I am going to take a nosedive down and back round again. So I'm just kind of fiddling those wires to fit. Now, why have I got a nice ugly wire across there? There we go. Okay, so far. Now I may need to actually add some more wire in because I'm running out of wire for my leaves. So there we go. And what I would do, you can always use a little mandrel to actually pop out the shapes of these petals. I'd bring them up a little bit as well, gives them a little bit more breathing space to work on as well. So take your wires round to the back. Now, bear with me, I don't want that wire showing so much. There we go. And so to make a leaf, we will use 53 seed beads per leaf. Now I think what we're going to do is I'll probably just do one leaf and talk you through the rest. Hello Hilary, thank you for joining. So 53, and I'll have a look and see how long the 53 is as well. Sounds like a bust, doesn't it? And I'll turn the other one over on the lilac one just to really show you how I've positioned the leaves at the back. But with regards to the middle, it's just to say that you might need to improvise a little bit on what you put in the middle, but you just need to make sure that you're going to anchor the other side down so that it all sits okay. I'm guessing it's probably going to be about maybe 3.25 inches of beads for 53. I'm playing tiddlywinks with my beads again. 5, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53. Okay, you do the leaves in exactly the same way. Have a little gap at the bottom, overlap them, overlap the wires and twist like so. Now what I like to do with the leaves is to put a point on there and just shape them as you want them, if that makes sense. Okay, so as we've only got 7 minutes left, let's just take you to this one. So I've done a slightly different green. This is the dark AB, this is the light AB green. So let's turn that over, shall we? So what I did is I had the leaves in exactly the same way. So I did 53, 53, 53, and what you can do is you can move it round so that you can place them wherever you want them. And then you've still got these 2 wires at the back. So these are the brooch backs that I've got in the group. So what I did on mine, you may want to do something a bit different, is I'm going to put both wires one through each hole. I'm not going to lie, measure it. Oh, I didn't measure it, did I? Ugh. Hang on, let's measure it. Thank you. 3 inches. 3 inches of beads. Thanks, Linda. honestly, what am I like? You can see now why I have to put reminders in my phone for everything, can't you? Yeah, I'm not going to lie, it's a bit fiddly. I personally wouldn't glue it. I just think it would make a bit of a mess, if I'm honest. I think it would ruin your beads. So what I'd be inclined to do now is pop the wire up towards the top of your flower. Just go through a couple of petals, or 1 or 2 petals, and then come back up, but making sure the most difficult part for this is actually making sure that your wire doesn't kink. Alright, so I would do that one side and then I'd go the other side and do the same. What you could always do is just grab underneath one rather than going all the way up. That's better. Okay, and then do the same for the other one. Let's just try tagging in one of the leaves or something close to it. So we go underneath, back through the hole. So it's almost like you're stitching with wire. And then you find that you get a little kink in it, and quite often if you get a kink in it, it's prone to snapping. And let's go around that leaf and underneath. Okay, so that you could do another time, a second time if you want to, which is probably a good idea. Make sure if it's going to be a brooch that you cut your wires the other side. So then when you've finished it, you can just rearrange all of your petals so that you have it how you want it. So there you go. I don't know why, but that looks fuller than that one. Maybe it's just the boldness of the colour. So let's have a look. Hello Lydia, don't worry, that's no problem. Trisha said you could add a bit of red coloured circle felt for the poppy between the brooch back and the poppy. Need holes in felt. I'd need to see it, but I think I know what you mean, and it sounds a lot easier. France said, great tutorial as ever, got lots of ideas from everyone, thanks, off out soon, so can't have a go tonight. Well, enjoy wherever you're off to. So I hoped you enjoyed. So we've got the lilac one. Wouldn't that just make a gorgeous statement necklace? It's got my brain ticking now. That was the poppy, or poinsettias, whatever you want to call it, and that's the one we did tonight. So I'll finish that a little bit later on. But even if you've got like a ring mandrel, you can always pop out the shapes on that as well if you wish, just to give it a little bit more texture and dimension. But I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope it's just giving you something else to think about with regards to making and design. Anyway, thanks for joining. Do make sure you've commented and liked the post to be in for a chance to win. Take care.